Conversations with Kelly.
Hi, everybody. We are here with Conversations with Kelly. And today we have a special guest in studio with us, Jessica Fabus Chang, all the way from New York City, Long Island area, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
She had a little bit of a trip today.
A little bit, just a slight bit, yes.
So she is Mrs. New Jersey International. Congratulations on that.
Thank you
That
so
was
much.
That was a big deal.
It was. It happened March 9th. So it was in Princeton, New Jersey, and I was honored to win the title. So I'm just thrilled and so excited.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. And how I met you was through
Yes.
pageantry when you were running for the Mrs. New York America pageant 3 years ago.
Yes, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 13 years,
Wow.
being a sponsor and then producing it. And then I got to, I love it because I get to meet and establish friendships with people like you. And it's just been amazing.
Yeah.
And following your journey. So tell us what is new? What is going on with you?
Well, what is not new?
I know.
I am preparing for the Mrs. International pageant. Which,
When is that?
That is July 26th and 27th.
Ooh, that's coming up quick.
It is. It's about 2 months away. So it's in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Oh.
And yeah, I've found my home in pageantry because their mission statement is about making a difference in the community.
I love that.
Yes. So it's challenging because it pushes you in ways that maybe you hadn't thought of before. But I think it's really key when, we are powerful women and we're trying to do amazing things. Having that support from a system is really incredible.
And you've got a husband and a child, you're a
Yes.
mom, and then you have this career. And then to have a support team behind it and pushing your platform. Tell us what your platform is.
My platform is called Champions of Accessibility. And it really was formed out of a desire to be authentic to me and create awareness, allyship, and allow people to take action for accessibility in the community.
And what made you decide to do that for your platform?
Well, when my cousin has Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and he was diagnosed 20 years ago in 2004. Similar story to Christine. He was given a short life expectancy. We were briefed that eventually he would be a wheelchair user. And I will literally never forget when he was 12 years old, he was still ambulatory, still walking around. And he was walking to an appointment with his mom, my aunt, and he ended up tripping over an inaccessible sidewalk, which is kind of a nice way of saying it was a broken sidewalk that no one had done anything about. He broke his leg. And instantly he became a wheelchair user right then and there. It was expected later on, but to have a child that was still moving around and was more dependent. Yes.
Done.
So, yeah. And I never forgot that because as I got more deeply involved with advocacy, I realized from hearing these multiple stories from different families, from Christine, from others, how big of an issue accessibility is. And often it's right under our nose. And
people don't think about it or they don't care.
Right.
A lot of the times. I mean, you see people parking in the handicapped zones and, how do you make the vehicles so that they're accessible? How do you make places accessible?
Yeah, you may not know this, but in order to make a place or a restaurant even accessible, a lot of times business owners will just add an entrance in the back. So instead of making a ramp in the front, which, yes, I understand does take some money to do, but no other group of people would ever be asked to enter a business
from the back.
And if it was done in today's day and age, there would be a whole media storm about that.
Right.
But for some reason, why is this still happening today? So that's just one thing out of the many. There are tons of different things. what I mentioned before about having a platform authentic to me, I am very, very passionate about this. But in 2021, I was diagnosed with the rare form of thyroid cancer. And I ended up having 2 surgeries. And one of the major risks was based on where the thyroid or the cancer was in the thyroid, there was a possibility that I would lose my voice permanently because of just the way everything was.
How terrifying is that?
Yeah. So I remember, having the surgeries, and I'm talking to you, so that didn't fully happen. But it took me up until even this point to, I would say, regain my voice. I would say I'm about 85% normal now.
See, I didn't even, I mean, I knew obviously your story.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't know that part of it.
Yeah. And when I was thinking about my platform, I mean, it opened my eyes even more to how critical accessibility is. So I was thinking, if I have this chance to be alive because they solved the problem through surgery, thankfully, and I'm cancer free, but I also had the possibility of not being able to speak or be able to communicate in a normal way.
And having a young child, that's got to be a really big thing in your head, too. So you're struggling and going, okay, well, here I have cancer. So you're going through all that gamut of emotions, and then you're like, okay, now I have the chance of maybe not being able to speak, and my daughter not being able to grow up hearing my voice.
Right, exactly. So I figured, if I am going to have a chance to really focus on something, why not let it be accessibility? And I understand that, it's basically like a David and Goliath story. There's so many factors to accessibility. It's such a huge thing. And I am just one person, but that's where, the power of the crown comes in, and, building.
I love that. I love that you just said that, the power of the crown.
The power of the crown. Because you can do it on your own. You could, I could go and do this without the crown, but the crown undoubtedly draws attention.
Yes. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
But now you've got a real huge platform.
Yeah.
And a whole nother audience that you can start talking to and getting involved. So
exactly.
So is that why you decided to keep going? You won. You won the Mrs. New York in what,
2023. So that was that.
I'm like trying to think of date.
Yeah, the America was 2021, and then I represented New York last year at this pageant.
Okay.
As an at-large contestant. So I basically interviewed. It was an extensive process to do that, and they selected me to do that, which was awesome. I went and I gave it my best, and as soon as I got off stage, my husband came to me and he was like, "Well, we'll just go back again next year and we'll try again." And I was like,
your husband said this.
Yes, he did. I'm like, I just took a step off stage. I wasn't even conceptualizing what I'm doing in 5 minutes.
But he knew.
But he somehow knew. So he planted that seed for me. So I wasn't even thinking about what I was going to do the next year, anything like that. And my current director, Mary, she reached out to me because she had been at nationals throughout that week that I competed, and asked if I would consider maybe coming to her stage. And because I had the requirements to compete in New Jersey, I was able to do that. So I did. And
I was going to ask you, how's it all work?
Yeah. So it's, it's a little bit complex, but my husband's job has a location in Nutley, New Jersey. And so we're kind of in the midst of deciding where we're going to end up. And I also, New Jersey, New York, especially in the South, are so seamless and they're so close that I didn't. Right. So I knew there wouldn't be an issue with getting to serve in New Jersey. And that was actually really exciting to me.
Yeah, because you're super close to over there anyway.
Yeah.
So
it was just a way to expand my message and just give it another, try again, as he said. So that's what we're doing. Because usually it's me. I'm the one that's like, all right, you know what? It's time for this. And he, this time, just was like, all right, well, just try again. It was very matter of fact. It wasn't like, now we're going to ride again. It was just like, well, we'll just try again. And just like, what? Who are you? I don't even know who you are right now.
He wanted to become Mr. New Jersey International.
Yes, that's right. He had it in his core being. So, yeah. So,
Aw, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great that he's so supportive. Did you ever think as a kid that you would do this, that you would become, I'm going to do pageants and get up there on stage in front of everybody?
Well, when I was a kid, when I was around 10 years old, I went to my still best friend, Melissa, her house to spend the night for the first time. And I got into her room and there was a bunch of trophies and like a tiara. And I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, these are from pageants. And I don't know how to describe this, but something happened where I knew that that's what I was supposed to do. So I was only like 10 years old. So I went to my mom, and she loves the story. But I was like, I'm like, here, hey, like, I think I know what my destiny is. And she said, well, what is that? And I'm like, well, I really want to be in a pageant. And she was like, absolutely not. No way. It's wrong.
She was like, no.
Yeah. Like, no, like it's degrading. It's sexist.
Wow.
The message that I got was like, why would you even think of that?
That's funny because I remember, like, I'm obviously way older than you are, but I remember being younger and with my mother watching the pageants on TV and being like, oh my God, never ever thinking that I would, because I never wanted to do that kind of things. I can speak in front of a million people. Stepping up onto that stage, especially in a bathing suit, I would rather do just about anything in this world than do that.
Yeah, that's why I love the system that I'm in, because we don't do a bathing suit. We do fitness wear. So you have a choice.
I'd be all about that.
Yeah, and you can wear sneakers, which is like a game changer. So yeah, that's so great to put those on. And
I'd be out there with my bling sneakers on and be strutting my stuff.
So I really like that because I think that's more relatable to most women.
Yes, because most women, let's be honest, most women are terrified to be in a bathing suit. Even when I was at my absolute best shape that I've ever been in, the only place that I would ever go in a bathing suit was down to my private beach where there were like 5 people.
Yeah.
So nobody could see me.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I don't know, it's just not who I am. But the gowns?
Yeah.
The gowns I'd be all over.
Yeah. The gowns are amazing.
And the business attire type stuff. I'd be all over stuff like that.
Yeah. So when I was young, like I was mentioning, I asked my mom for a while and she kept saying no. And finally, I asked her so many times that, and by the way, and this is where I realized the power of perseverance and persistence, especially when you want to do something. Like you really, really feel in your heart that you are supposed to do this, but the world is saying no. They're like, how could you think this? But you have this feeling. And she says to me, all right, fine. If you want to do the pageant, because there was a pageant in May of like the next year, then you can raise your own money and you can do the pageant. So to little Jessica, that was a yes. So much to her delight, I got a babysitting job. And for a year, I babysat, or, close to a year, earning $20 a week. And I had this little envelope in a drawer that I would put the money in, and it got fatter and fatter and fatter as the weeks went on. There was a person on my blog, well, actually a photographer, and this is back when we would shoot on film. It was someone that my mom knew, but he offered to do my headshots if I paid for the film and supplies. And because I had a babysitting job, I was able to do that.
Oh,
and the headshots.
A young entrepreneur.
I know. So I should have brought this photo with. But it was a professional headshot, but it wasn't like a pageant headshot.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, but I have it because I need it. People started coming out of the woodwork to help me. This woman at my dance school, she loaned me like a national level gown because and it fit me perfectly, which was the crazy thing.
Wow.
People loaned me sportswear. Even my grandfather, and God rest his soul, on Easter that year, he pulls me aside. He's like, I see what you're doing. Here's $300. Go do the pageant.
Your mother must have been like,
Yeah.
oh boy, here we
Yeah.
go.
But it's, it's a blessing in disguise because it taught me the value of hard work and that you can't just have something just because you say it. You need to work for it.
And it wasn't given to you. It wasn't just handed over to you on a silver platter.
Right.
You worked for that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that means way more when you're the one doing all of the work behind it.
Yeah.
And I've tried to instill that in my own daughter and starting her out. She used to make duct tape pens, like the
Okay.
flowers on the duct tape pens.
Yeah.
She'd make pens, purses, you name it. And she would come to my events and she would sell them. And one of my good friends, who is he was a fashion designer and an artist, and I will never ever forget him coming to her little table at Eastview Mall, and he bought $250 worth of duct tape pens
God bless that man.
and
Yes.
handed them out. And when I went there, maybe a year before he passed away, the pen was still on his desk in his home. He still had it and remembered, that that's what it was from, and it just left such an impression on her and on me that she could do it. And she would sit in her room for hours upon hours. And then, and then it taught her, okay, now I need to do other things because I want to go to dance and I want to go to competitions. And I was a single mom. So trying to raise that kind of money, and it was rough.
Yeah.
So she'd do her lemonade stands and all of it.
Yeah. And it's just so much more meaningful. And then when I did go to the actual pageant, I mean, I was like a deer in headlights on stage, but I came first runner up in talent. And
Wow.
so that was cool because I played the piano, and the girl that won in my division for talent, I'll never forget this. And this taught me a lesson too, because even when you don't win or you lose, you still can learn if you're open to that.
Right.
And she came out with a business suit on and started doing a tap dance to the song 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. And at some point in the song, she tears her clothes off, and there's like a sequined, dance costume under there, and she wowed the crowd. And so I understood showmanship, that plays a role.
Yep.
And that's, it's an exciting part of pageantry. But, sometimes you don't just walk in and win. You have to develop yourself.
Right.
And I say that I'm not just on a journey. I'm on an odyssey, because it's been a really long, long odyssey for me, but it's been worth every step of the way because of the things that I've been able to do. The, advocating for Duchenne muscular dystrophy, for accessibility, meeting Christine.
And what you're teaching your own daughter.
True. Yes.
She's got to be
huge.
looking up to you. I remember your husband sitting in the audience and just looking up, and that's got to be so powerful for you to know, wow, my daughter is looking up to me and can look up to me and say, hey, I can do this too.
Yeah.
I can be anything that I want to be.
And that's actually one thing that I had a goal for as Mrs. New Jersey, was to bring this message of accessibility to children her age. So I'm a healthcare educator. So I love teaching. I love interacting, finding creative ways to get a message across. But the one area that I really hadn't been targeting yet was young kids and the educational sector. And so I developed something called Decorate a Spot, which is basically an artistic activity combined with like learning in the classroom. So I go in and we focus on literacy. We read a book that focuses on accessibility or inclusion.
Okay.
We talk about it. I mean, these kids are little, so the attention, is short.
Limited.
Yeah. But then we go outside and reinforce the messages by decorating a accessible parking space with flowers or with butterflies. And the one that I recently just did, they decided to bring out permanent paint for these kids. So they brought out stencils and the little kids would paint over them with like caterpillars and butterflies. And it's now a permanent part of their parking lot. And that really touched me because they took it seriously, what I was saying. And it's not just teaching the kids about inclusion, it's also reinforcing that message through the educators and then by default through the parents as well.
I was just going to say, and then they come home, the kids are all excited about what they've done, and then they tell their parents. So it educates them too.
All right, I have to tell you one more story because but it's kind of related to this. So last week I did an event in Jersey City for the Alzheimer's walk, the New Jersey Alzheimer's Association, and I was going home from the event. I was by myself in my car, at the stoplight, and I look over to my left. There was a school there, and they had like a green, turf field. They were having some kind of an event. It was a Saturday, so they were having like a DJ, and there were kids playing and parents talking and food. And I look over, and right in my line of sight is this little boy in a power chair, and he was looking around, and it's like it's going to bring me to tears, but no one was talking to him. And I just even someone like me, and I could tell he's just looking around, waiting for somebody. So I think the work is really important to have not just this message of inclusion, accessibility for the kids to understand, hey, just invite someone over.
Right.
But to allow the parents to be a part of that so they can help educate their children to say it's okay to go talk to someone that looks different from you. So it just, for me, reinforced how important it is to keep spreading a message like that, because it will impact that little boy.
Well, you're doing amazing doing that. And I can't wait to see what happens in July.
I'm very excited.
See what happens on your journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my Odyssey.
And hopefully you'll come back. And
yes.
If you win, you better be coming back.
Yes,
here
I will be back as Mrs.
Giving
International.
me dibs.
Yes, I will. Absolutely, I will.
But thank you for joining us, Jessica, on Conversations with Kelly.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.